Hi, my name is Liliana Chaddick, and this is my reflection for the cultural competence video. First question asks, what does it mean to be a culturally competent educator? I think that as educators, we do have an ethical responsibility to understand our students and to become more culturally competent in a classroom setting. How do we do that? I believe that as educators, we can create an environment that welcomes and respects the students' beliefs, their cultural background, um, their views on the world, their values, but most importantly, who they are or who they say they are as individuals, I think is important and can help us become more culturally competent educators. Um, where do I see myself being on the continuum chart? I believe that I fall under the fifth category, which is cultural competence. I think that a lot of the beliefs and the things that my parents have instilled in me as a child and have developed in me have helped me aligned with this chart. They've always, encouraged us to be open and willing to hear other people's side of the story, understand other cultures, being open to them and respectful to them, despite the differences that they may have with my own. And I think that that was important and huge. And one of the things that I align myself with is the cultural competence on this chart, because there are social matters that do need to be discussed, and there are different perspectives on every subject. But in order for us to learn and understand, we must be open and willing to hear and listen and educate ourselves on matters that we may not always agree with. Um, One of the things that was listed, or the characteristics, says mindfully engages in mutually adaptive processes rather than segregate or require assimilation. I think that creating a setting in a classroom or an environment that has unity, that has a trust, is essential as an educator and essential in creating a successful environment for students to learn when they are in a classroom setting. What are some things that I can do to deepen my cultural competence? I think getting involved, getting plugged in with the local community that we are working in is essential in being an educator. I don't see how educators can teach successfully in a setting that they do not even look beyond the walls of the school. Understanding each student's individual backgrounds, whether they live in a wealthy area, a more rural, poor area, understanding where they come from so that when topics are discussed in class, they feel heard. They feel like they can still speak about their perspective and not be disrespected. I think that, educating ourselves and even educating our own personal biases that we have on situations and allowing to hear what our students believe about these things, because although they're young, they still think and they still evaluate and they still have responses and opinions, and I think that their voices should always be heard. This can help create a more diverse classroom for them, knowing that other matters, whether it be about one culture or a different culture or different social issues that are happening in society. I think that it is great to educate not just our students, but the teacher and the students together is always a great environment to create. And I think that this will provide more of a inclusivity in the classroom, including all these different racial groups or social groups or cultural backgrounds. I think it is important to talk about these things so that every student feels heard. And how will I ensure that students and their beliefs and their cultural backgrounds are being respected? Creating a safe environment for them. We have to create a safe environment for them, or else they will not feel like their perspective will be heard. They may not feel like their abilities can be shown. They may not feel that their talents or their interests are not right because they're different than others. I think that if we create an environment that allows them to demonstrate all of those different characteristics, I think that they will be successful in a classroom setting. It will help us teachers be more culturally competent and ultimately create that environment where our students will be successful, not just socially, but academically. Thank you.